Good morning. Here to introduce this morning's senior speaker is Sam Poulos.
Freshman year, I had biology and French back-to-back. Both classes Jack was also in. The goal of these classes became a game in which I would try to make Jack laugh as much as possible. In one biology class, Dr. Dyke told us to take one piece of our hair and look at it under a microscope. Instead of taking only one of Jack's hairs, I walked behind him and cut off an entire lock with scissors. When Jack saw the amount of hair I had taken, he freaked out and asked Dr. Dyke if it was noticeable. Seeing as that was Dr. Dyke's first month at teaching at US, it's a miracle he didn't quit then and there. From those early days, I've gotten to know Jack pretty well. Both witty and genuine, Jack can be counted on to tell you what he thinks, even if it hurts your feelings. Jack's ability to both amaze me with his intelligence, but also make jokes at his own expense truly define him as a person. Anyone who has ever had a class with him will tell you that he's not only the smartest, but also the funniest in the room. I'm not sure if Jack and I will remain friends after high school. I'll probably be pretty busy. But no matter how old we get or how different we may become, I'm sure we'll look back on these moments as formative experiences that changed us for the better. From all the rides I've given him to our shenanigans in the library, I can truly say knowing Jack has made me into the man I am today. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Jack Kingston Piana and his story of pain, struggle, and enlightenment on the British Isle.
Hoisting my pack onto my shoulders and taking a long drink from my water bottle, I began day 8, mile 108, of a transcoastal walk across England. On this particular day, eerily similar to the 7 days preceding it, our guidebook took us through the small, sleepy town in which my family and I stayed the night before, past the small shops still closed in the early morning, and past the moss-covered houses and their quaint gardens. Hoping beyond hope for a sunny day, I glanced up at the sky and was dismayed to find that it was as dull and gray as ever, the sun still unable to pierce those fat, looming clouds. As repetitive as this routine was, it was no wonder that come the middle of our journey, it was deeply ingrained in me. The trip did feature some variety, however. On any given day, we would walk up a mountain, along a stream, through a lush valley chock full of flowers, or through a patch of dense forest. I was again dismayed as we arrived at the entrance to a field and shuffled one by one through the small gate. Fields like these, which typically harbored sheep, cows, or goats, were the most demoralizing part of the trip. When in the middle of them, I felt as though I was stuck in some sort of limbo. Rolling, grassy hills, dotted with stunted bushes, seemed to stretch on forever, in all directions, and, with no goal in sight, no small gate marking the end of the field, walking seemed to bring me no closer to the finish line. Even worse than the lack of visual stimuli, however, were the omnipresent cow pies and the occasional bull, which always seemed intent on intimidating me as much as possible through its icy stare. In moments like these, I asked myself why I agreed to come on this journey in the first place. When the idea of walking across England was first proposed to me, I didn't give it much thought. In fact, I agreed to accompany my stepfather, brother, and mother on this journey, primarily out of a fear of missing out, and secondarily out of pure, unadulterated bravado. As the first day of the walk approached, however, and the looming inevitability of my commitment came into focus, my courage and gung-ho attitude were replaced with an ever-deepening sense of dread. We would be walking 8 to 10 hours a day for 14 days, all under the brooding, cloud-laden English sky. Thus, I began the walk on the western coast of England, having done no major reflection on what would be my reality for the next 2 weeks. The little reflection I had done defined my mindset for the next half of the trip and revealed to me a coping mechanism, a way to fortify my spirits against the inclement weather and the monotony of putting one foot in front of the other for hours a day. I decided that this journey would be an exercise in self-punishment, like taking a cold shower or doing cardio, an action which is itself unenjoyable, but which procures a feeling of accomplishment and a mastery of the self. If I endured this hardship now, I told myself, I could brag about it on college applications, to friends and family, and in speeches. As I took the first few steps of the walk, ascending a cliff overlooking the sea, the beauty of nature confronted me, but was overpowered by the apprehension of the strenuous journey ahead. In that moment, and for the first half of the trip, nature was to me a dispensable pleasure, one whose benefits could be derived from any number of sources. As we continued down the path, though, nature became my new reality, as we were immersed in it for the vast majority of our waking hours. While my original predictions about the trip came true, my perspective on and experience of nature evolved greatly during those long forays into the natural world. I had no great realization, no glorious epiphany. My family and I never joined hands to sing Kumbaya in a meadow of flowers, but I did find a unique, profound peace that I had never previously experienced. Surprisingly, the seemingly insignificant moments catalyzed this shift in perspective. One experience in particular stands out. On this day, during the last third of our journey, we had been graced with sunshine and warm weather, and the path took us along a bubbling stream running through a lush valley, rimmed by a small town. After walking for a few hours, I realized that I was far ahead of the others and sat down next to the stream to scarf down a bag of cornflakes. In that moment, I was entranced by the movement of the glassy surface of the stream. Waves of water glided over each other in concert, an endless polyphony of movement unfolding before my eyes. Snapping out of my trance, I looked down to find my lap covered with cornflakes. How long had I sat there, captivated by the movement of the stream? Another such moment, defined by a semi-conscious state, came, oddly, during one of the most perilous moments of the trip. We were hiking through the Lake District, a region of England notorious for the numerous injuries accrued there each year by ignorant, overly confident American tourists such as ourselves. After hiking up steep, slippery hills for hours, we emerged victorious, or so we thought, on the top of a peak overlooking an oasis of sorts, a rainwater-fed lake a few thousand feet up. Unfortunately, we quickly discovered that we had gone the wrong way, and that in fact we were supposed to be on a different peak, across the lake. Before the trip, I expect that I would have been substantially demoralized by a failure of this sort, that perhaps I would resent those around me for allowing us to walk for miles in the wrong direction. At this moment, though, bombarded by a frigid rain and tenacious gusts of wind, lost and tired, I felt none of these emotions. It was this indifference to physical and mental hardship that accompanied me throughout the rest of the journey. Every morning, I entered a state of tranquility, a sort of out-of-body experience in which my physical reality was of no consequence, but the beauty of the natural world around me enveloped my mind, putting it at rest. I wasn't exactly happy, nor was I sad or angry or tired or hopeful, for these things insinuate that I reflected on and was cognizant of my conditions. I realize now that this imperturbable, peaceful mindset is only achievable, for me at least, in a sustained, intimate experience with the natural world. Since returning to Ohio, I've never found that same peace that I experienced during the walk. That isn't to say, though, that my time in England had no lasting effect on me. I now recognize that the peace of mind offered in nature is to be found nowhere else, and I'm comforted by the fact that, given the chance, I can slip into that same mindset and let my worries, fears, and physical and mental reality melt away. In short, I advise you all to have an intimate, extended foray into nature. We're all fortunate to go to an institution with such a surplus of natural beauty, which offers an escape from the normal thoughts and feelings of school and life outside of it. Many of us, though, including me, rarely take advantage of the opportunities offered by such an escape. Though you may not find yourself or come to some great life-changing revelation, you will discover a peace of mind unique to your experience. For me, my time in nature was less meditative than it was an escape from thought itself. For others, it could offer the opportunity to reflect on aspects of one's life which normally go unexplored. However you choose to use the unique state of mind enjoyable in the outdoors, it remains the unparalleled medium for deep thought as well as serene oblivion. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Sam.